Okay, so I'm sitting here and I was just talking about how, not my arm, okay, oh. I was just sitting here talking about spending time with God and different things, and I made that video with you guys talking about it and stuff, and then as I'm sitting here spending time with God and eating and everything, anyways, okay, it dawned on me on something that, there's things that we forget, and at times it's brought up to be mentioned, and we're just like, I forgot all about that. Like, it doesn't happen by coincidence. It's God putting it on our hearts and our minds again to pray about it, to talk about it, to study it, to do the things that we need to do. Because it's apparently at some point there was a reason. There's a reason why God has something come across their mind. However, as it's about to downpour, and then I'm going to have to take my time getting out there because the roads are bad when it rains out this way. So, okay, anyways, what I'm saying is like last year or two ago, maybe during the pandemic, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not exactly sure. I know me and Daniel was together at this point in time, and me and Daniel's been together for 4 years now. But this woman was like, okay, this woman made a little reel TikTok or something. I don't know what it was, but she didn't go into detail about it. She didn't put timelines to anything like that, because you only got 60 seconds, and at that time I think it was 30 seconds or something. So she's sitting there, and we know that the Bible is real. We know that everything is biblically accurate. You know what I mean? It's been proven time and time again, all the wonders of God and everything that He's done to be, we found it over and over and over and over and over again. Even the DNA of Jesus, all of it. Okay, so we know that many years ago, and I just shared a video on Facebook of this guy, doing a reel to, oh, they look like Beans and Pippin. A little bit. Different colors, but, okay, anyways. There was, this thing of, that sits at the government. Basically, it's the building where all the people around the world get together from all the countries, and they sit down and talk about things, vote on things, and agree, disagree, and stuff like that. I forget what that place is called, but there's a thing in there that it's Lucient Trust or something like that, and the original name was Lucifer. Lucifer is the devil. He is the devil. He's a fallen angel. So anyways, with this being said, on there, it's all the 10 things that their goal was get rid of God out of the schools, take control. This is for the government. Take control over parents and what they're not allowed to do with their children. Make it a world where we have this alternative world where it's not straights, where it's not man and women together, but what's going on now. Taking the ability of the children and castrating them. All kinds of things, okay? All kinds of things. So that's their objective. Okay, so going off that tangent, just so you know, one of the things on there was I can't remember if it was the number one thing or second, but it was right up there. And one of the first things they wanted to do was take God out of schools. Okay, they did that. Do you know that it bothers me that we learn about Cleopatra, and we learn about not the fact of learning about them, but we learn about Cleopatra, and we learn about like kings and queens and stuff like that of the world. But when you look at that information and you are referencing it to the Bible, it adds up. Like, Cleopatra's days were literally a few years after Pharaoh and Moses. But we don't know that because it's not being taught. No, squirrel. I didn't want that squirrel in the road. But there's just different things that aren't being taught. Like, okay, there was something when I was in school, I don't remember the full name of it. Like, I know the truth of what was said and done, and you know, I was raised Christian. I was raised by the Bible. But I'm waiting. I think this car's gonna go around me. But anyways, one of the things that is taught in school was no babies were ever thrown into a river, and there was never ever any homicide or nothing like killing children under the age of 2. And it's taught that like none of this stuff ever happened. Like, they didn't reference it to the Bible, but they said it never happened. So then it makes you believe that the Bible's not real. Why? Because God got taken out of school. Now they have control over what they can and can't teach. But they're biblically proven archives, testimonies, many generations going down the line. Like, it is true. The wars against like, on top of my head, I can't really think of it at the moment, but like I'm trying to think. It was after Moses, I know that. Was it in Jacob's day? Maybe it was through Jacob's day, but it was when they started. It was the person right after Moses, and they started going against war against these different countries and different cities and stuff like that, and taking over their land. And that never happened according to school. Giants. See, there was giants that walked on the earth. It talks about it in the Bible. In school, it says that there's. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to backdate to like just a couple years ago just the past couple years with the kids, and back when I was in school. Okay, so according to school, giants are make-believe. They're not real. They never were real. They're just like a mythical creature. Okay, just recently, again, they have come across in the land, like right now it's like name something else, but in the promised land, they just found once again some more giants, like the skeletons of giants. Okay, biblically accurate to the way that they're described in everything, and I mean everything. Okay, and this is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years later. So you can't tell me that it never happened. And like, okay, they're trying to say that they were trying to say that there was a King Pharaoh, but Pharaoh wasn't in the time period of when it happened in the Bible. Pharaoh was in another time period. And school says that it's not physically possible to split the sea. No, it's not physically possible. Pharaoh was real. And it's the same thing like a name, man. You know how many destinies there are out in the world? Do you know how many Marys have been through generations? And like all throughout the decades? Like, there's been a bunch of Marys. So that whole thing of like, okay, so the Pharaoh they're probably referencing is not the same Pharaoh that was in Moses' day, and they're trying to use it to tell these kids that they're wrong. But I want to say this. It is not physically possible for mankind to do the works of God. God gave Moses was the only one that got to see Jesus face to face and talk to him the way that he talked to him, because Moses was there to the bridge between Israelite, the people, and God. Okay, so there will never be anybody like Moses. But let me tell you this, okay? Moses was given the ability through God, and it's starting to rain, was given the ability through God to part the Red Sea. And they're trying to say that it never happened. Let me tell you something. They did a dive. They took, my grandfather had it, and we watched it many times when I was younger. But they took boats, and they took boats and cameras and like scuba gear with cameras and stuff like that. And they actually went and why is my windshield wipers bad? Guess I had to have it on high. But anyways, they took the gear and they went down into the Jordan River, or into the, yeah, they took it down there. The Jordan or the Red Sea? The Jordan. I see, I'm drawing a blank right now because I'm going on a tangent. But they took it down there. They took it down there. I guess I don't need this anymore. But anyways, they took it down there, and y'all just gotta sit like this for a minute. And they found the chariots, described exactly how they were described in the Bible, and the way that they were made. They were able to track it all the way back to when, back in Pharaoh's day, back in Moses' day. And it's so cool. You cannot tell me that it didn't happen. So, like, the chariots just ended up in the same exact line path. Like, you kidding me? Like, all in that same path, because everybody in that path stopped at, like, another, all throughout history at, like, a different time point, like, back to back to back. No. I'm just like, I'm so sick and tired of things not being added up the way that's going to be added up in the Bible. And my plan is, when I go to homeschool the kids, I'm trying to get more into placing things on the Bible, or from in the Bible, on like a timeline of history, like the years that this happened, and 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 correspond it to the things that we're learning, because the kids are learning. The kids will be learning about this stuff, like I'm sorry to say Pharaoh, like what is her name? I just said it. The one, Cleopatra. Okay, she's gonna be learning. They're gonna be learning about that. So to be able to teach them and have them memorize, like, when things happen, I think it's gonna be really cool and interesting and awesome. And you know, it's just that I think it's meant to be, and to put them two together, like, this actually did happen. It wasn't like this world that said, and the world that we live in. No, this is the world that we live in, and it's all history and soon to come. So I just, like, I cannot wait to start teaching them these things. And it might be a couple years. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, Mason is 10. Oh, he'll be 10 in December, and Aubrey's about to be 7, and Lex is 3. So when I go to do this with them, first of all, this is going to be our first year homeschooling the kids. So I want to be able to get it somewhat down pat and kind of have like an easy year to get us into the routine of homeschooling. And then really take off from there when the kids are able enough to do it. So maybe like when Lex is 10 and the older two are like in their teenage years or something, where they can grasp timelines on history and things when that stuff's actually being taught. But and start introducing it now, but not like in depth. So with all that being said, I'm gonna hop off of here. It's raining, and I'm sorry for like this big long tangent, but I just, like, it kind of bothers me that these things are not being taught. And I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But I think more importantly, God creating the world, and like, we don't exactly have to know when, but you know, when God created the world and his people in Noah's Ark in the year that happened, and Moses and Pharaoh and the Israelites, I think that's more important than Cleopatra are learning that the king and queen's children were all inbred because they mated with their cousins. Like, you know what I mean? I just, like, siblings and cousins, and all of them have birth defects, and I'm sorry, I just think that stuff's more important. So I'm gonna hop off here. It's downpouring.